Good evening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Hilaal Live. My name is Faraz Patel. We'd like to thank you, the viewer, for staying with us, and my colleague Lukman Shadrack for taking you through that first part of the show. Now, earlier on today, I spoke with IFP Chief Whip, Mr. Narend Singh. This was ahead of the funeral of Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi that will be taking place tomorrow in KwaZulu-Natal. Here is the interview. Good afternoon, Mr. Singh, and thank you so much for joining us here on Hilaal Live.
Good afternoon to you. Assalamu alaikum to you and to all your listeners.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Singh. Mr. Singh, just behind you, of course, there's a big stage that is being prepared ahead of tomorrow's funeral. Just talk to us about the logistics that had to go through this, because this is quite something unprecedented for the IFP, and of course, you know, the uniqueness and the stature that was, of course, Prince Buthelezi.
No, thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity. No, it's not only unique for the IFP, but I think it's also something unique for the country, because we are, from what we see, the kind of requests that we are getting from people who are flying in from Australia, London, Zambia, Ghana, India, some from the Republic of China, I mean, is overwhelming. Even King Charles is sending a delegation of the Welsh Regiment here to pay respects to His Excellency Prince Buthelezi. So it's going to be a huge day tomorrow. And as you know, we are trying our best with the arrangements together with the SANDF, and the police and other security agencies. So at the moment, we are all hands on deck here at the stadium, where we are expecting thousands of people to gather tomorrow to bid their final farewell to Prince Buthelezi. So things are hopefully on track, and this afternoon will be quite significant, because at about 2:00, his body will be moved from where it is in a cortege to the family residence, so that the family have him to themselves overnight until the official state funeral tomorrow.
Mr. Singh, I want to talk about yours and his relationship, because, you know, obviously the IFP was really one of those parties that really played such a significant role during the apartheid time. How did you get involved, and how did you, of course, not only just acquaint yourself, but really become a colleague and a friend of Prince Buthelezi?
Well, I've known him since about 1985, when as a community activist in my area, I was invited to opening of a magistrate's court complex not far from where I live. And that's where I first met him. And I took a liking to him, and we became friends. And in 1993, when the IFP became a political party, I had no hesitation in accepting his invitation to join the party. And I've been with him and the party since 1993 to date. And I've learned a lot from him. We were friends. He was a father figure to me, besides being a political leader.
Mr. Singh, at the age of 95, of course, that was the age that we saw that the passing on of Prince Buthelezi. But even then, till then, he really did play such a huge active role within politics. So that just showed that with his mature age and his wise age, he still wanted to be part of changing the landscape of South Africa.
Absolutely. I mean, for 7 decades, he's been involved. And in recent times, even though he was ill, except for the time he was in hospital, he was making significant contributions in Parliament. He was in contact with the president of the country on many issues. He was one never to shy away from saying what he felt needed to be said, even if it meant criticizing the president or government in the interest of the broader country. But I think one thing I absolutely respect and admire him for is his ability from a young age to recognize all communities, irrespective of race, color, creed, or religion, as people of this land. And he always preached the gospel of social cohesion. In fact, amongst his early friends in the 1950s, and we're talking a long time ago, was the late Professor Ismail Mir and Professor Fatima Mir, Mr. Pat Puvelingham and his wife Shakuntala, because there was a time when people could not live in the Durban area, well, black people of color could not live there, and Indians were allowed. And it is the Puvalingams that used to give him refuge when he used to travel to Durban for whatever he needed to do. And then he developed great relationship with the Lockhart family, the Lockhart Family Trust, and through association with them, they built a number of schools and other facilities for the people in KwaZulu-Natal in particular. And then he had a great relationship with the head of the Divine Life Society, Swami Sahajananda, for at least 60 years, and they built about 6,000 classrooms together between the Divine Life Society and him. So he always had the interest of the community at heart and made sure that the community benefits from all these private partnerships that he forged with many groupings in our country.
I want you to talk about that, Mr. Singh, because when obviously the IFP started, it was mainly Zulu, the Zulu nations, and of course Zulu countrymen and countrywomen of ours that joined the party. But we saw many other races, as you mentioned, for example, Indian and white and colored joining the party. So that also spoke about, you know, the IFP really becoming such a multiracial party.
Absolutely. I mean, it started, there's no gainsaying that it is a majority African Black Zulu party. But when it was a cultural liberation movement, but as it developed into a political party, in fact, in our first lot of parliamentarians, there were a number of people, and I don't like saying this, but it's a reality of the country, white people, colored people, and Indian members of parliament in the national parliament. I was appointed as the first provincial minister of color by Prince Buthelezi in 1996. It's a position I held till 2007, and then Chief Whip of Parliament. So there are a number of people that now recognize that what Prince Buthelezi had to say about social cohesion and accommodate all groupings was a reality, unlike many other political parties nowadays, where you see minority groups being sidelined. So certainly his philosophy of working with minority groups paid a lot of dividends, not only for us politically, but his community involvement was something that all movements appreciated. Whether it was the Grey Street Mosque, the largest mosque in Southern Africa, whether it was the Hare Krishna Temple of Understanding in 1985, which he opened. I mean, there were so many religious institutions that he was involved with and attended their functions whenever invited.
One final question, Mr. Singh. He was, of course, revered amongst the Zulu monarchy, revered amongst the Zulu nation. It's been a very difficult time for the Zulu nation. Of course, we saw King Goodwill Zwelithini passing away 2 years ago, and now, Prince Buthelezi in his role as the Zulu prince. How does the Zulu nation, and I know you interact with them on a number of occasions, recover from what's a very difficult 2 years right now? I know we, of course, saw King Kwazulu-Natal being inaugurated last year as the official king of the Zulu nation. But to lose Prince Buthelezi, I mean, it's going to take a long road, is it, for the Zulu nation and the Zulu monarchy to really overcome for what has happened in the last 2 years?
No, absolutely. But he's taught us to be resilient. He's taught us to be strong. And although we recognize that a great tree has fallen, but the roots are still there. And I think it's incumbent upon the Zulu nation at large and all of us in the political party to build on those roots, build on his legacy and his vision of self-help, self-reliance, social cohesion, looking to development of people first before anything else. And I think we have a great responsibility that rests on our shoulders as we move forward.
Mr. Narend Singh, thank you so much for joining us here on Hilaal Live, and all the best ahead of tomorrow.
Thank you very much, and thank you for a message of condolences, and sorry about there's a lot of noise here in the background, a lot of wind you can see, but thank you for your good wishes.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you there, Mr. Narend Singh, the IFP Chief Whip, ahead of tomorrow's funeral that will be happening for the Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. Up next, I speak to Islamic Relief's Zahir Raja. Tomorrow, Zain Bika will be performing at their Spring Fair, and Hilaal TV will be, of course, bringing you coverage of that event tomorrow. To stay tuned to Hilaal Live.